Hi beautiful people, let's do the mid-year freakout book tag. Yes. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Rose and this is Flower Reads a Lot. Today, as you saw at the beginning or the title, I'm gonna do the mid-year freakout tag, mid-year book freakout tag. I don't know exactly the name of it. I'll put also who I think started it at the bottom to give credit to them. Before we start, I just want to talk a little bit about what my reading goals were coming into this year and how it's kind of been going. So this year, my goal was to read 50 books. For me, that is a lot. I work a full-time, very tiring job, and I also have a second job as well. So 50 books, I was like, really? You're gonna try that? And guys, guess what? As of today, I have read 60 books, which, let's just all give a round of applause for me, please. Now, I have read some manga and graphic novels, but a book is a book is a book. So I am very proud of myself for that. My other goal was to read 3 nonfictions for this year. Yeah, I haven't read any, so that's how that goal is going, but 60 books, let's go. Let's go into our questions. For these, I decided not to pre-pull questions because I just want it to be spontaneous. I want to see my answers. I'm probably not going to have just one book for each of these questions, so just hold on tight for the ride. I hope that you enjoy. I hope you get some good book recommendations. Let's go. The very first question is, what is the best book you have read so far this year? This is gonna be hard for me, okay? I have read a lot of amazing books that I love so much. So, I'm gonna choose multiple books because I am having a good reading year and I can't just choose one that's the best because I read from a lot of different genres and I feel like that's not fair. So let's talk about my favorite thriller read of this year. I actually have it back here. It is Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. Shout out to Haley Hughes. Please go subscribe to her, follow her on Instagram. This is her favorite book ever, and her book club is named after it, and I was like, okay, I gotta finally read it. I've been a part of this for a while, like, why have I not read this yet? This book is so gut-wrenching and just so sad, but also, like, it's amazing to see this sister dynamic and the way that they're fighting for each other. Please read this book. So basically, this is about these 2 sisters. A long time ago, their other sister disappeared, don't know what happened to her. She is presumed dead. Fast forward to present day, these sisters are adults. I think they're in their 40s, 30s or 40s. One of the sisters is living her life as a trophy wife, living in her rich fantasy, okay? The other sister is a recovering addict. She's still living her best life though, don't worry. She's got a daughter, she's got a good boyfriend, she got her own business. But the other sister's husband dies, and I won't tell you how, but somehow that brings the 2 sisters together, and then they start uncovering different things about their sister's disappearance. The twists in this book, there's no way you're guessing these. Like, there's just no way, because it's just so, please read this, please read this. And I also need to get a better copy because I've had this for a while from my local used bookstore and it's just a little mass market paperback. And so I want to get a pretty one so that I can put it on my actual shelves and not just be in my little mass market pile. The next book that is just amazing. I just finished this actually today, this morning. It is my favorite fantasy read of the year. It is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Guys, the hype is worth it. The hype is right. It is not a hoax. Please, if you don't like this book, you are a hater. I'm not judging you if you don't like this book, but just saying that you're a hater, okay? Because this book is so good. Oh my gosh. So this is basically about this war academy, and it's an adult book, by the way. So go into it knowing that. It is an adult, I would say it's a romantasy. I don't know if it's targeted as that, but it is definitely high in the romance, okay? So this follows Violet Sorrengail, and her whole life she was like, I'm gonna be a scribe, I'm gonna work in the archives in the library. And her mom was like, no, you're not. You're gonna go be a dragon rider. And she was like, okay, great. So I'm either gonna die or be a dragon rider. So probably die, because Violet is very fragile. And so she goes into this academy, and it is about her overcoming so many different obstacles that she has, and how she just never gives up, and no matter what other people say, she still believes in herself. And it's just so good. The romance, please. I don't know if this counts as enemies to lovers. It's like light enemies to lovers, maybe more like rivals, but like dark rivals to lovers, if that makes sense. If you know, you know. Okay, just read this book. Zayden Ryerson, please. I love him. Okay, now, the second question is the best sequel that I've read this year. And I don't know if there is a sequel that I've read this year. Okay, hold please while I look. Oh, actually, I've got a good one that I recently read, and probably the best sequel that I've read. I have not finished a lot of my series that I have started, so I need to get on that. But a really amazing sequel that I just read is Yona of the Dawn 2. Now, I'm pretty sure this is an older manga, but I just started it. And this book is so good, actually. I was surprised because at the beginning of volume 1, it's like a little cousin lovey, and I was like, I don't know if I'm here for the incest. But at the end of volume 1, worth it. Volume 2, it just sets everything up so well, and there's a character that I just know I'm gonna love. I already love him. He's kind of grumpy, but also very protective, and so good. Next is a new release that I want to read, but I haven't read yet. And of course, it has to be The Only One Left by Riley Sager. I actually have the dust jacket right here because I own it. It's just downstairs because I started it. I'm on like page 50, something like that. So I feel like I can still put this here because I haven't finished reading it yet. This Lizzie Borden type of story, I'm here for it. Absolutely. And I have seen more people liking this book than they have his last 2 books, which, I mean, I didn't read Survive the Night, but House Across the Lake, I loved it. So I know I'm gonna like this book. I've heard that the ending is very like too twisty and doesn't make sense, but I am here for it. I'm here for like a Looney Tunes, silly, goofy plot twist time. So yes. My most anticipated new release for the second half of the year. Now, I have multiple for this. The first is, of course, The Brothers Hawthorne by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Please, if you know, you know I love the Inheritance games. I will not hear any hate on the Inheritance games, okay, because I love it so much. Thank you. Now, The Brothers Hawthorne is gonna follow the 4 brothers. I'm pretty sure all 4 brothers, but I'm just the most excited to see Grayson and Nash. I am excited to see Nash. Jameson, not so much. Xavier, I liked him, but Grayson, please. So I'm very excited about this book. I don't actually know what the premise of it is going to be or like the actual plot, so we'll see. The next is Midnight is the Darkest Hour. I think that's the title of it. Well, it's over here. So Midnight is the Darkest Hour by Ashley Winstead. This comes out October 3rd, I believe. I love Ashley Winstead. I love her stories. I mean, I still haven't read In My Dreams to Hold a Knife. I'm going to. It is on my list. I have it in my Libby library right now. But The Last Housewife is, it probably still is my favorite book of all time. Dollhouse by John Hunt might have beat it out, but I'm still thinking about that. But The Last Housewife, I just loved it so much. I know I'm gonna love this. I think this takes place in Louisiana. It's like a little small town thriller going on. I don't know. It's just gonna be great. My biggest disappointment of the year, and I talked about this, I believe, in my least favorite books of the year, it is The Shuddering by Anya Alborn. I just didn't like this book. I went into it thinking, oh, it's gonna be a monster slasher. I'm gonna love it. It's gonna be gory, bloody. It's gonna be great. It was just drama. It was just drama, and it was boring, and the people that died, like the kills, it was just dumb, and I didn't like it. So yeah, but I'm sure that I will like some other books by Anya Alborn. My biggest surprise. What was my biggest surprise? I don't know. I know. Okay, never mind. I do know. My biggest surprise was Fake Dates and Mooncakes by Shirley. This is a YA contemporary romance. There is LGBT rep in this book. There is fake dating, which I love. The only thing is, I am not a fan of contemporary romance. I have learned that it's just not my favorite thing in the world. I hate the third act breakup. I also like a little smut in my book. So this being YA, I didn't know that this was YA going into it, by the way. This being YA, I was like, oh, I'm not gonna like this. This was like a 4.5, 4-star for me. This was really good. It was so cute. I loved it. I loved all the characters in it. The third act breakup wasn't so super intense and it kind of made sense. So I was like, okay, I love it. This follows Dylan, who is working at his aunt's restaurant after his mom died, and his aunt is really struggling. The business is not doing the best that it could be doing, and he meets Theo in an incident. I will not tell you what happens, but he meets Theo, and Theo is very rich, and he's like, well, I'm gonna donate to your aunt under this foundation name. And Dylan's like, no, we can't. I don't want to owe you that much money. And Theo's like, well, just be my date to the wedding. And Dylan's like, okay, we can fake date. Perfect. So yeah, read this. The next question is my favorite new author, like debut or just new to me. Have I read new authors that I just love? Let me see. Oh, okay. I got one. A favorite new author that I've only read one book by, but I just know that they're gonna be a favorite, is Travis Baldree, and it all started with Legends and Lattes. No, I will not stop talking about this book. I am so sorry. I just love it so much, okay? It is about Viv here. She is an orc. She just wants to settle down and make coffee in this little town where nobody knows what coffee is. I won't go on and on because I have talked about this multiple times, but I just love this book so much, and I am so excited. Oh, that's another new release that's coming out. I think it's called Bone Dust in Bookshops or Bookshops in Bone Dust. I don't know, but I think it's a prequel to this, and I'm so excited about that. My new fictional crush. I was trying not to double up on books and characters or anything like that in this, but it has to be Xaden Ryerson from Fourth Wing. He is perfect. Now, I can't say too much without spoiling the book, and I won't spoil it for you, even though I love a good spoiler, but it is safe here, okay, I promise. He is perfect, protective, caring in his own way, grumpy, but like in a good way, and thoughtful. He is so thoughtful. I can't tell you how he's thoughtful because it's gonna spoil it, but just read Fourth Wing, okay? It's worth it. Read it. The next question is my newest favorite fictional character. Do I have a new favorite fictional character? This whole video is just gonna be me like asking myself these questions like, do I? I don't know. Okay, actually, I do have a new favorite fictional character, and it's kind of weird because normally I don't think of thriller characters as being my favorites, but this book, I don't know what, but it just like, I connected with it so much, even though I've not gone through any of the things that go on in this book. But I don't know, I felt a huge connection with this character, and it is Olivia from Dollhouse by John Hunt. This character, she has gone through so much and for so long, and finally when she's free, she's still fighting through all these things, and it's her relationship with her dad, her relationship with the people around her, just the way that she is fighting, the way that she's not giving up. I connect with her so much, and I love her. Yes, Olivia. Now, there is a sequel that I think I mentioned before. It's called Olivia, where she meets someone else that she has to help, and I haven't read that yet, but I just feel like I'm gonna love it, and I think it picks up where this book ends. So I'm very excited. Now, a book that made me cry. Now, I strategically don't read books that are gonna make me cry on purpose. I don't like to cry. I am a crybaby. I cry often and I cry easily, but I don't enjoy it. So I don't like to choose pieces of fiction that I know are gonna make me cry. However, the manga that I've been reading this year is just very sad and heartwarming, and it's been making me cry. So I'm not gonna tell you about I Wanna Eat Your Pancreas again because I've already talked about that. And I mean, I kind of have already talked about this manga, but it's in a new light, okay? It is orange. All of the volumes made me cry. This is about this group of friends trying to save their other friend from dying. I literally get goosebumps talking about it. I'm speechless. Their friend, who is a new kid at school, is having suicidal ideations. He's had a really rough time. Something happened to his mom, and they don't know until one of the friends gets a letter from her future self saying, save him. And even though they have everything written out for them, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to say, don't do this, don't do that, it's still hard for them. They're teenagers having to deal with something that's that deep and not knowing exactly what to say, even though it's laid out for them. And it's just so good, and it makes me cry. I love it so much. Okay, now let's reverse back to books that make me very, 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 very happy. I have a couple. I mean, Legends and Lattes is a book that made me very happy, but I can't talk about that again because I've already talked about it. So what's another book that made me happy? Ooh, okay, I have two books that made me really happy. Now, I think I have already talked about both of these books, so I'm so sorry that I'm just repeating myself in this video, but yeah. Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater is probably my top book that just makes me so happy. I love it so much. It is so cozy and adorable. I love Elias. Now, I think other people say Elias. Is it Elias or Elias? Somebody tell me, because I've been saying Elias, but it might be Elias. But I'm just gonna say Elias. Elias, Theodora, I love them so much. The things that Theodora she does, her little quirks, and the way that Elias just accepts her, the way that she is, and he loves her for who she is, and what makes her her, even though other people try to change her. It's just so cute and I love it. Another book that I don't think I've talked about on here that made me really happy to read, I read this at the beginning of the year. It is Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. Now, this is a middle grade book, and I don't often read middle grades. It's not necessarily a light and fluffy book. This takes place at this Magic Academy secret society, and Amari is just now learning, like, oh, I can do this, I can do that. My brother did that, what? There's betrayal in this. Like, it's just so good. But the reason why it made me so happy is because when I was a kid, I didn't necessarily read a bunch of fantasy books. I mean, sometimes I read Magic Tree House, but I read like Junie B. Jones, and then whenever I got a little bit older, I read like Ellen Hopkins books, different type of thriller books, or scarier books for kids, right? So I didn't really get to experience any of the fantasy hype that was kids literature, and it was just so cute and I loved it. Now, I still haven't read the second book. I don't know the name of that book, but I still haven't read that. I want to, because it's just so good. Even if you don't read middle grade, I feel like if you like fantasy, you'll like this book. The next question is so hard because I don't think I have an answer for this. It is your favorite book to film adaptation this year. But have I read a book and then watched the movie this year? I feel like no. Let's go through Goodreads. Let's see. All right, I got nothing for you, but I did watch a movie, a few probably, that was made from a book, but I just haven't read the book, with Haley Hughes's Patreon watch party. I watched A Man Called Otto. Oh my gosh. I think it's adapted from A Man Called Ove or Ove by Frederick Bachman. Okay, talk about something that's gonna make you cry, because I was sobbing the entire movie. It's not something that I would normally choose to watch, but since it was the watch party, I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna watch it. My heart was in pain, but also was so warm. And I was just like, I couldn't see the entire movie. I was just sobbing. It is so good. I've never read the book. I don't know how accurate the movie was, but I feel like it was a great adaptation. So, yeah. And then the next question, I feel like I'm not going to answer. It's the most beautiful book that you've bought this year or been given this year. And I don't buy a lot of just like beautiful books. So I don't know what that answer would be. Like some of my print on demand books, maybe? I don't know, because a lot of my pretty books are hardcovers, and I keep all my hardcovers downstairs on that bookshelf. So I'm like, what is the most beautiful book? I don't know, skip. Ooh, okay, the last question. What books do you need or just really want to read by the end of the year? Now, I definitely still need to read my book club's pick for this month. It is Howl's Moving Castle. I just know I'm gonna love this. We're also gonna watch the movie together, so if you're not in the book club, join the book club. It's gonna be so cute and amazing and lovely. So I definitely need to read that. I don't know how many times you guys are gonna hear me talk about this. Hopefully this is the last time you'll hear me talk about it without having read it. The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang. I need to read that because how can I say that The Poppy War is one of my favorite books ever when I still haven't read the rest of the books in the trilogy? So I will read that. And hopefully that's the last time that you hear me say that. Oh, the next book that I definitely am going to read by the end of the year, it is Dead Inside by Chandler Morrison. Just stay tuned, because this is gonna be featured. Just stay tuned for this book. If you know, you know. And then I think the last book that I'm just like, I desperately need to read that before the end of the year is Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. Now I actually have it over here, but I'm not gonna take it out because she's a beautiful face out over there, so you get the picture. This has, I think, like secret society in there, magic. I've heard it's so good. Even though it's YA fantasy, I've just heard such great things about it that I just know I'm gonna love it. And I thought that was gonna be the last thing that I told you, but actually, Zodiac Academy 8. I do need to read that as well. I will. I don't know why I still haven't read it. I think because I just don't want it to be over since the other book is not out yet. I think there was just a novella that came out or was published recently. Not exactly sure, but for that also, if you know, you know. Now, that was all the questions. Thanks, guys, for sticking to the end if you stick to the end. Please comment below, like, your full answers to these as well. I would love to read them. And also, for you guys that have channels, I want to watch them too, so I can't wait to see them. And, yeah. Okay, thanks. Bye. Love you.